Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going deep on public procurement.
Public procurement.
Yeah, it sounds dry, but it's honestly anything but. We're talking trillions of dollars globally. Roads, schools, hospitals, it's all public procurement.
It really is the backbone of government service delivery.
Exactly. And it's not just about spending, it's about spending responsibly, making sure taxpayers are getting the best value, ethically. Like, imagine you're investing your savings right.
Right.
You wouldn't just hand it to anyone. You'd research, compare, check their track record. This is kind of similar, but way bigger stakes.
Absolutely. Transparency is critical.
Which is why we're doing this deep dive. We've got a stack of reports, case studies, all that good stuff. Ethics, sustainability, even how tech's changing the game.
It's a rapidly evolving field.
It is. So ethics. Can't talk about public funds without it. Integrity, fairness, transparency, those are key.
They really are non-negotiable. Foundations of trust.
Right. Like, remember that Kenyan procurement scandal back in 2015?
Yeah.
Contracts, no bidding process, zero transparency, bribery everywhere, cost taxpayers millions.
And eroded public trust, which takes time to rebuild.
Exactly. But the bright side, they did overhaul their procurement policies after that. Shows that course correction is possible.
It is. It's essential to have those mechanisms in place.
Now, how about we switch gears from reactive to proactive? Sustainable procurement.
Sustainable procurement.
This is more than just getting the cheapest option, right?
It's about the long game, the impact of those procurement decisions. Environment, social, the whole picture.
And governments, they have huge buying power.
They really do. So by choosing sustainable options, they can actually influence markets, incentivize better practices.
It's true. So let's break it down a bit. Economically, sustainable procurement is about
Value for money, for sure, but also local development,
Yeah.
supporting businesses in your own backyard.
makes sense. Environmentally, it's what? Going green with our choices?
Absolutely. Energy efficiency, reducing waste, less pollution, thinking about the future generations.
Okay. And socially?
Socially, it's fair labor practices, supporting diverse suppliers, making sure those economic benefits are shared.
Right. Equality's key. And we've got some good examples. Uganda, for one, they've been really pushing for sustainability.
They have,
Yeah.
especially with local sourcing and protecting the environment.
Yeah. And then there was that World Bank project, the Uganda Energy for Rural Transformation Project, I think it was called.
Yes.
That was cool. Brought electricity to rural areas, minimal environmental impact, and it helped local businesses.
That's the ideal, hitting all the pillars of sustainability.
A triple win.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of collaboration, let's talk public-private partnerships. PPPs. Sounds a bit, I don't know.
Jargony.
Yeah, but really it's just teamwork.
It is.
Like, say a government's building a highway, they've got the land, the plan, but maybe not the expertise for the actual construction or the money.
That's where the private sector comes in. Expertise, resources, a different perspective.
So it's like this coordinated effort. Public and private sectors working together. Each brings their strengths to the table, they share the risks, share the rewards.
And hopefully achieve that common goal.
And just like any good partnership, you gotta communicate, split things fairly, who does what.
Responsibilities clearly defined. That's important.
So let's say, hypothetically, we're doing a railway, a new one. The private company, they might handle the design, all the building work, even running it, collecting the fares.
Right.
But the government side, that might be more about getting the land, all the environmental assessments, making sure it fits with, the bigger transportation plans.
Makes sense.
Maybe even throw in some financial guarantees to help the private company out. Share some of the risk.
Risk sharing is a big part of PPPs. Each party takes on the risks they're best equipped to handle.
It's about finding that balance where both sides benefit, but ultimately it's the public that wins,
Absolutely. Public good is the ultimate goal.
Now, how do we make sure all this, the partnerships, the procurement, stays above board?
Transparency and accountability. That's the key.
Those are big words.
They are, but they're crucial. Builds trust with the public, makes sure everything's done by the book.
Right, like we were saying earlier about ethics, this transparency thing, it's like shining a giant spotlight on the whole process.
Exactly. Open procurement systems, making data public, those online portals, Freedom of Information Acts, they all play a role.
The more eyes, the better.
You got it. When everyone sees what's happening, who's winning the contracts, how much they're getting paid harder to hide anything shady.
Makes sense. But transparency alone, that's not enough, is it?
Nope. You need accountability too. like a referee to make sure everyone's following the rules.
Okay, so what does that look like? Accountability.
Well, you've got your internal and external audits, monitoring systems, making sure everyone's compliant, and good reporting mechanisms. Can't forget those.
Right, gotta have records.
And protecting whistleblowers. They're essential.
Whistleblowers, the folks who speak up when something's off.
Exactly. Protecting them encourages others to come forward, and it definitely discourages unethical behavior.
Good point. So how's Uganda doing in this department?
They're making some really good progress. They've got whistleblower protection laws in place now, and they've been pushing for more open contracting, publishing their data.
That's good to hear.
And they've got this platform, e-government procurement, or EGP. It's all about increasing transparency in the process.
Sounds promising. Okay, ready for the grand finale? The tech part.
Let's talk tech. It really is a game changer.
It's like what? Trailing your old Nokia for the latest smartphone?
Perfect analogy. We're talking faster, more efficient, and way more transparent processes.
And we've got what? E-procurement systems, AI, blockchain. It's a lot.
It is, but in a good way. These technologies have the potential to revolutionize public procurement.
So let's break it down. E-procurement.
Imagine a digital platform. Connects everyone. Buyers, suppliers, everyone involved. All in one place.
So you're saying instead of like mountains of paperwork, it's all digital.
Exactly. You advertise tenders, submit bids, evaluate them, award contracts, manage supplier performance, all online.
Streamlined.
Exactly.
Saves time, money, and probably cuts down on a lot of headaches too.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the increased transparency. Every transaction is recorded, time-stamped, everything. Makes it much harder to pull a fast one.
And because it's all online, this also helps level the playing field for smaller businesses, right?
Exactly. They have equal access to opportunities. Makes the whole system fairer, more competitive, which is good for everyone in the end.
Competition breeds innovation. Okay, enough about e-procurement. What about AI? That's the really futuristic one.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi film, but it's already here, and it's already making a difference.
Really? Like how?
Imagine needing to predict, say, the demand for medical supplies in the next year. Or maybe you want to identify any potential problems with your supplier even before they happen.
Sounds pretty handy.
It is. And AI can do all that. It analyzes massive amounts of data to find patterns, trends, anomalies that we might miss.
So it's like having a super-powered assistant.
Exactly. It's about augmenting our abilities, not replacing us entirely. It frees up time for procurement professionals to focus on the bigger picture, like strategy, building relationships, and of course, ethical considerations.
Okay, so AI is like the brains. And what about blockchain? Isn't that the one everyone's always talking about?
Blockchain is a game changer for transparency and accountability. Remember our conversation about those?
Vaguely.
Well, imagine a public ledger, completely tamper-proof. Every transaction is recorded there, and anyone can see it.
Wait, so you're saying with blockchain, everything's out in the open?
Exactly. From the moment a bid is submitted to the final payment, it's all there for everyone to see. Makes it incredibly difficult for corruption to take root.
Wow. Okay, so it's transparent, but what else can it do?
Well, it can streamline contract management with what we call smart contracts. These are contracts that basically execute themselves automatically.
Yeah.
So once certain conditions are met, like a delivery for instance, payments are released.
No more waiting around for someone to push papers.
Exactly. Speeds things up, builds trust between everyone, and then there's big data analytics.
Data everywhere.
Right. But it's not just about having the data, it's about understanding it.
Yeah.
With big data analytics, we can see patterns in spending, analyze supplier performance, look at market trends, all sorts of valuable insights that help us make smarter procurement decisions.
So it's like having a crystal ball, but for procurement.
In a way, yes. We can identify risks earlier, optimize processes, and make sure we're getting the most out of every dollar spent.
Okay, this is all very impressive, but it also sounds a little overwhelming. Like, do we really need all this fancy tech to get things done?
That's a good point. Technology is a tool. It's not a magic solution.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's still people making the decisions.
Exactly. We need skilled professionals who understand the complexities of procurement, who can use their judgment and make ethical decisions. Technology can help them, but it can't replace them.
So it's all about finding that balance, right?
Exactly. Using technology to enhance our capabilities while never losing sight of our values and the human impact of our decisions.
Well said. All right, deep divers, ready to trade those headphones for some magnifying glasses.
Little procurement investigation.
Exactly. Last time we got all that background, the ethics, the tech, all that.
The lay of the land.
Right, but now we're getting practical. We're going to audit a real public procurement project.
Oh, putting it all into practice.
Yep, right here in Uganda. And to really see how this affects people, we're focusing on a healthcare project.
Okay, so something with a direct impact.
Exactly. Imagine a project to get essential medical equipment to a rural hospital.
That's vital.
It is.
I
It's
don't-
more than just, paperwork. It's about saving lives.
So walk me through this. What are we auditing exactly?
Okay, so picture this.
Yeah.
We've got this project, new medical equipment for a rural hospital right here in Uganda.
Okay.
And our job, we're the auditors, are going to make sure everything's above board.
Procurement detectives.
Love it. Except instead of chasing down suspects, we're chasing down documents.
The paper trail.
Exactly. And we need everything. The initial plan, the tenders, evaluation reports, contracts, invoices, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds like a lot of digging.
It is. But it's not just about the documents. We got to talk to the people involved, too. The procurement officers, the suppliers, even the hospital staff who will actually be using this equipment.
Get their perspectives.
Exactly. See if anything, I don't know, maybe something wasn't clear or if there are any hiccups along the way.
So we gather all this information, then what?
Then comes the fun part, the analysis. We got to put on our thinking caps and really dig into the details.
Looking for any red flags, any areas for improvement.
Exactly. Was the tender process fair? Were the evaluation criteria clear, objective? Did everything comply with the law? Did they do their due diligence?
Thorough.
We gotta be. And remember all that risk management stuff we talked about? We gotta see if they actually had plans in place, if they were prepared for things to go wrong.
Because they often do.
Right. And through all of this, we're taking notes, making a list of what went well, what could be improved.
A learning experience.
Absolutely. It's not about pointing fingers. It's about making sure this process, this life-saving process, runs as smoothly as possible in the future.
So are we ready to put on our detective hats then?
Let's correct this case. That hypothetical audit really makes you think,
Definitely highlights the human side of all this.
it's not just about, forms and regulations. It's about the impact.
Absolutely. A fair process can literally be the difference between life or death, like with
Well,
that hospital example.
Exactly. And for our deep divers who, might want to do some more digging themselves,
A little more investigation.
we'll be sharing some real-world case studies in the show notes.
Always good to see how things play out in reality.
For sure. But before we wrap up, one last thing. We've talked a lot about tech.
The future of procurement.
Right. But like anything powerful, there are, two sides.
Potential downsides.
Exactly. So how do we make sure this tech, this amazing tech, is actually used for good?
That it benefits everyone.
Right. That it doesn't leave anyone behind. Because just because we can automate something doesn't always mean we should,
It's about being mindful, using these tools responsibly.
And never losing sight of the human element, our values, transparency, fairness, all that still matters.
Now more than ever.
Couldn't agree more.
Technology should empower us,
Yeah.
not dictate how we operate.
Well said. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of public procurement.
A complex but crucial topic.
It really is. Thanks for joining us, deep divers, and until next time, stay curious.